My husband and I were on a hunting trip deep in the North Woods. Dad pulled the 14-foot trailer out to camp and left us there with the intention that we would be up super early and secure sitting spots on public land. The camp was about 10 miles from the nearest person and 35 miles away from real civilization with street lamps and stuff. Super scenic. It had been snowing and the pine trees are really tall and it was quiet outside. We were just laughing and talking when suddenly something big jumped into the roof. This is northern Michigan in November. There shouldn't be anything big in the woods right now. A bear would be sick or not able to hibernate for some reason and probably will kill you. We stopped mid-sentence and looked up. Right then, it sounded like whatever it was had run along the roof on the trailer and jumped off into the surrounding snow. I needed new pants. My husband starts looking for ammunition for any of the guns that we have with us. And we were both asking each other, what the actual f*** is that? There shouldn't be anything that big in the woods this time of year. We didn't hear anything else after that moment. We decided that we absolutely had to see what was going on. We heard no footsteps, but also no rustling or anything else on a clear night with snow on the ground. You'll hear anything close by that's moving. My husband went first, opening the door and peering out. No prints in front of the trailer. We slowly walked around the trailer. Being in a small clearing with only a couple of trees, we could see about 25 feet around the trailer, and after looking around and finding nothing, we just went back inside. Logic said that it was either long gone or something else was going on. It took a while to calm down, but eventually we both fell asleep, loaded guns on the table a few feet away. The next morning, we got up and went outside to look around again. Still no tracks other than ours and some rabbits. We were outside looking away from the trailer. We heard this thing again, running right across the trailer towards us. We spun around and faced our attacker, and saw some snow falling off the pine tree branches in a line across the aluminum roof. The tree branches didn't even start till 40 feet in the air, so of course, we couldn't have seen them at night since it was just snow. Nothing looked off when we went to investigate the night before. We genuinely thought there was a Yeti, Bigfoot, or severely pissed off nocturnal mutant deer with a taste for blood, and it turned out to be some freaking snow falling out of a tree and hitting the roof. Me and 3 of my friends decided to grab our guns and knives to go camping out in the woods, not far from the city we lived in. We were all 19 and 20 years old, and had always been told that Black Panther sightings have happened in the area, which was more than enough motivation for us 4 guys to grab some beer and guns and head out into the woods. We walked for miles in the dark, just talking and telling stories, trying to rustle up some wildlife. Then we hear it, like an old woman crying or screeching. It was far off, but it didn't matter. It was terrifying. We had heard stories of what they sound like, and we knew it when we heard it. We also heard some coyotes yelping and obviously finding something to kill because whatever it was in some serious pain. We noped out of there, and we were gonna head back when the wild card of the group says we should still sleep out there, and basically called us everything but pussies if we didn't. So we did. However, by this time we were over halfway back to the car, but still deep enough in the woods to be totally helpless if something happened. We have like a 6-person tent that we threw up and we all hop inside after we hung out by the fire for a bit. After we hang inside and talk, we end up falling asleep. Sometime around maybe 2 or 3, I wake up, I hear a noise, and all of us step outside. Little do I know, 2 of the other guys in the tent have been awoken by the said noise as well. All of us stunned, not knowing what's happened. We are all silent and completely, still as to not wake each other in case that nothing's outside. But the noise and rustling gets louder and closer. The fire has long been out, so there's no light to see. Now, there's something brushing up against the tent and clawing at the opening to the tent. It wasn't zipped, but maybe 3/4 of the way up. Why, I don't know. Then the zipper starts lazily coming down, and we see a silhouette of a man. The 3 of us scream, and then the figure leaps Superman style into the tent on top of us, swinging and kicking. We all completely lose it and start beating the shit out of this person before we realize it's our 4th friend, who was just getting out to pee and was having trouble getting back in the tent as he drank a few beers. Campfire was out and he didn't take his flashlight. He jumped into the tent because we screamed, so he naturally thought he saw someone or something behind him. So he freaked out and tried to get into the safety of the tent. Long story short, we laughed hysterically for at least an hour after that. We didn't know which was more funny, the fact that we were total pansies and got scared to death over our friend taking a piss, or that all three of us were awake at the same time, silently losing our shit without knowing. In 2007, I was working on a trail crew in the Trinity Alps of Northern California. We had 13 people on the crew and a few support staff. At this point, we'd been in the woods for about 2.5 months. We had all seen and heard bears, mountain lions, and pretty much anything that you can think of that would make terrifying noises. After dinner one evening, most of us were sitting around the fire, doing whatever, and all of a sudden, there's a huge, loud, agonizing scream sound. It was unlike anything any of us have ever heard. If I had to describe it, I'd call it a mountain lion shriek combined with the horror of a banshee. Everyone was understandably freaked the hell out. It sounded reasonably close, so a few of us, myself included, decided to investigate. About 3 miles from our base camp, there was a creature tied to a tree, absolutely losing its mind. It was a llama. At this point, it's 10 p.m. or so, and 25 plus miles from the nearest trailhead, and we find this llama tied to a tree just off the trail. We tried to calm it down without much success and went back to camp. The next morning, the llama was gone. It looked like it had broken its restraints and run off. We kept hearing the horrible llama noises from time to time over the few weeks. Towards the end of the season, a group of hunters passed us on the trail. After chatting for a bit, we found out they tied the llama there because it decided to be stubborn and refused to walk anymore. Apparently, it laid down the trail and would not move, so they left it and decided to come back for it. We figured at that point, the llama was probably dead. We hadn't heard any hellacious llama screams for a few months, and didn't really think about it however. At the end of the season, when we finally got back to the crew van, and we were driving out, that damn llama jumped across the road about 30 yards in front of us. I still think about the demon llama from time to time, and I hope he had a fulfilling life in the Trinities.